Adam Raya.
Gwendolyn Moreno. For me, I always would come to church.
And I wasn't sure where my relationship with God was yet, so I didn't even know if I belonged. We would just come and float through Sunday to Sunday.
We had problems, and we wouldn't communicate those with each other. I would just worry by myself, then lash out at him because of my worry.
Well, by the time, we wanted to talk about it, it wasn't not going to be talking.
It wasn't talking.
It was going to explode.
Then we got into Rooted.
With the questions that they would ask us in the Rooted book, we would go through that together, which helped us build communication.
It really made us stop and listen to each other, and then we got different insight. I would think of one of the questions in the book totally different than he would answer it, and I was like, oh, I never seen it like that. So it opened up my eyes too, as to my way's not always the only or right way.
We didn't really know what to expect, but week by week, getting closer with the group and everything that it was putting us through, and to challenge ourselves, challenge our relationship, it just made us feel with a better connection with God.
We've met so many people through Rooted. When we're done with service, we don't want to just go home. We want to stay and connect with everybody.
And now we've opened our eyes to meeting more people in the church and building a relationship with everyone here.
You're only going to get what you put into it. So if you're not if you don't do the book every single day, at first I wasn't.
When she saw that I caught up to her and that I was ahead of her, she's like, wait, what?
Yeah. I was like, what? And then all of a sudden, I was reading every day. It was easier and easier to do it. You get so much out of it. Putting God first made our relationship so much stronger.
We communicate so much better.
Then I started, really praying to God and talking to him.
We bring it into most of our conversations, talking about God, and a lot of my past, and putting that behind me and moving forward is making everything a lot better as well.
We wanted to introduce that to our kids too, that we didn't just want to tell them, who Jesus is, and I want to show them.
The outcome of seeing everything around us change and our relationship with God grow.
We've been talking about getting baptized. So our son being by the tank today was just so amazing too.
Well, we have our nieces and nephews. They're saying we want to go to church too. So now we're going to be bringing them. So we're going to have to get a minivan soon.
But yeah.
Now, when I started my very first, does everybody remember your very first job out of college? Okay, when I started my very first job out of college, I was working at Nextel Communications, and I started making some pretty good money. And I remember the very first thing I did with my newfound paychecks was I got a Toyota 4Runner, and I was excited about that. And I was like, okay, this is great. I'm making my own money. And everybody's telling me you got to budget. Now that you're making money, you've got to budget. And I was like, oh, all right, great. And so they were telling me all these things that I needed to do to budget. Well, one of the things, I don't know why this one thing stuck out in my head, but for whatever reason, this one thing stuck out, and that was get a Costco card. Buy in bulk. So I was like, all right, great. I want a budget, so I'll go and get a Costco and buy in bulk. But you got to remember, I live in Newport with Vic. I'm in my 20s. I don't need a jar of trail mix this big, right? So it's like, I don't need all of this bulk, but I did. I went big. I bought stuff for the whole year thinking, now I'm going to be great at budgeting. The problem is a lot of it just kind of went bad. I didn't use half of it. And then I kind of just punted on the idea altogether. And I just kind of, wasted the money going out in Newport and buying a bunch of Hawaiian shirts. But I didn't even do it anymore. It was like one time I literally used that card one time. How many of you bought a gym membership thinking you're going to go all the time only to use it maybe once, right? Yeah, thank you, Mark. By the way, time out for 1 second. Big kudos. PJ's not here. He was our worship leader today. Mark Nichols back there traveled all week long in his business. He and I and PJ lifted all of the equipment you see. The elevator's broken. So we lifted all this stuff up these stairs, and my shoulder is killing me right now. I may have said a few adult words in the process. Sorry. But it was tough. But Mark came in, and he was like a champ. So Mark, thank you so much, dude. PJ, I know you're out there. It was rough. The yacht club told me, they said, you know what? I'm sorry about that. It's probably going to be easier taking it down. I'm like, yeah, it's going to be easier for you guys taking it down. We're not taking it down. So all stuff is going to go in that room. But yeah, thank you so much, buddy. Anyways, so you get a gym membership and you're thinking, yes, I'm going to do this. This is what I'm going to do. And then you go, hey, have you used that gym membership? Not really. Why? Well, because people were giving me dirty looks. But you bought all the clothes, you bought all the stuff, and you look the part, and you go, well, the equipment wasn't clean enough. I'm too tired after work. And you make all these excuses, and it's the idea of this. I'm going to go all in, and I have big dreams of getting on budget and getting physically fit. But the deal is this. You don't touch a gym membership card to you and get automatic abs, right? You don't get your budget and then you get your Costco card, all of a sudden your budget makes sense. You actually have to do something with that. It's not just, I'm going to get this and I'm good. But we have this tendency to go big and go all in, and we're all in that, only to be left worse off than before, because now we wasted time and energy and money, and we're worse than we were before. And then suddenly our life becomes a series of stuff that I have to do, and I don't have any time to do what I want to do. I'm constantly doing all these things that I have to do now, but I don't do anything that I want to do. So our lives do this. You wake up, you go to work, you go to sleep, you do the whole thing over again. I wake up, I go to work, I go to sleep. I wake up, I go to work, I go to sleep. And it's this kind of cycle. And before you knew it, you turn around and years have gone by. You're just on this repeat cycle of just I get up, I do this, and that's it. Guys, there is a term for this, and it is called a midlife crisis. Okay, I can't answer for women. I can't do that. But here's what it would look like for men, okay? They go out, they buy all new clothes, they start to dye their hair, they get a sports car. If they're single, they'll date a girl half their age. And why do they do this? Because it's the idea of this. My life was supposed to be like this. I'm in my 40s or 50s, and it was supposed to be like this, but it's like this. I didn't want this, I wanted this. So maybe I'll just rewind the clock and do it over again, but really you look silly. Dudes in your 50s should never wear leather pants ever, okay? You look lame. Everybody knows it. You're not fooling anybody. So we just end up looking ridiculous. So the thing of it is I'm just going to redo this entire time, and this time I'm going to do it right. I'm going to date somebody far younger, so then I'll feel far younger. I will look younger, so I'll feel younger. You're not going to get that time back. You're just not. And in the process, you look silly. But what you can do is you actually can say, you know what? I'm actually going to take back my life. Guys, maybe you feel this way, and I think a lot of people do. You ever feel like you're living the life others expect of you, not the one that's going to fulfill you? I'm doing all these things that I'm supposed to do, and I just keep getting older and older and older, but I'm not doing anything that's fulfilling me, okay? And I don't like that. Here's the thing, guys. You can start fresh right now, wherever you're at, whatever stage you're at. The Australian nurse, Bronnie Ware, cared for people in the last 12 weeks of their life. And she actually recorded the most discussed regrets of the most. So she's a nurse, last 12 weeks of their life, and she actually recorded their biggest regrets. And it was this. It was at the top of the list. I wish I had had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. That was the number one thing. That was the regret. I wasted so much time having to do all these things that I was supposed to do, I guess, but I didn't do the things that I actually wanted to do. We do this because we live a life filled with false assumptions, and that is this. I have to. No, you don't. There's few things you actually have to do, okay? But we think, I have to do everything. It's all important. No, it isn't. Some things are, but it's not all important. I can get it all done. No, you can't. You can't do it all. Now, we've been discussing Nehemiah all month. This is the last day of our series. And the reason why we're discussing Nehemiah is because his life is a beautiful blueprint on what it looks like that I think a lot of us feel like, is my life really what I thought it was going to be at this point in my life? He starts to think, you know what? I have a gut feeling that I'm supposed to be doing more with my life. I don't like where I'm going. I need a change. He asks his boss, the king, I need to take some time away. He finds a need that's out there. He knows I'm good at it, and the world needs it. It looked like a long shot to rebuild this wall that had been torn down, but he says, I'm going to do it, and he actually does it. And it's a beautiful blueprint that no matter where you're at in your life, you could start now, but it's going to take you actually doing something about it, okay? So how did all this start? Nehemiah 1:3 says this, they said to me, those who survived the exile and are back in the province are in great trouble and disgrace. The wall of Jerusalem is broken down and its gates have been burned with fire. When I heard these things, I sat and wept. For some days I mourned and fasted and prayed before the God of heaven. Now, before the glory of rebuilding the wall, he takes some bold steps forward, okay? At this point, the wall is torn down. It's the city he loves. He's devastated. This area is gone, and he doesn't know what to do. He knows he's got to do something about it, and he's the king's cupbearer, which means he has to do the king's bidding. And you got to remember that if you say no to the king, it's punishable by death. So he's got to do this. But he does something really unexpected. In Nehemiah 2:5, he says this, and I answered the king, if it pleases the king, and if your servant has found favor in his sight, let him send me to the city of Judah where my ancestors are buried so that I could rebuild it. Guys, this is so huge. He's saying, I've got this gut feeling. I need to explore it. I have to do it. It's risky, but he's living a life that's different than our lives. He's living a code that's different than what we have. And that is this, guys. This is what he's teaching us. You can live by design and not by default. And friends, most of us live by default. If you look at your life, is it what you want? No, but I have to do this. Well, I hate my job, but I got to do it. I hate my life, but it is what it is. And you're living by default. You're not living by design. Nehemiah says, I'm going to live by design. I'm going to actually create what I want to do, and I'm going to go do it. That's what visionaries do. They see something, they go, I'm going to go for it. But they don't live by default. Now, this core belief has its own set of assumptions. And this is what Nehemiah did, and this is what we can do as well. The first one is, I cannot have, be, and do it all. You can't do it all, guys. You can't. If you try, you're just going to exhaust yourself. You're going to burn out. It's just not going to work. The truth is, guys, we live in the greatest country in the world where you could be anything, but you're not supposed to be everything, okay? You could do anything, but you can't do everything. Now, one of the biggest questions that we have is, how can I make it all work? Pastor, there's not enough hours in the day. How do I make it all work? Simple. You're not supposed to make it all work. You're trying and you can't, and you're never going to. Guys, it's the idea of this. A lot of people have this. They go, I could do it. If I just buckle down, if I just manage my time wisely, if I just skip lunch, if I just, skip breakfast, if I just do these things, I can make it all work. No, you can't. It is so arrogant to think that you're the only one out of everybody else in the world that can make it all work. You can't. And you're not supposed to. And what happens is, it's like this carrot that you're chasing the rest of your life. And you're chasing it, and you're chasing it, and it's right here, and it's never gonna get closer, but you can see it. And you get older, and more energy goes away, and more energy goes away. Before you know it, you're just on the ground, and you still haven't gotten it. You can't get it. You're not supposed to do everything. Now, I'm specifically talking about pastors right now. Because the average time for a pastor is 4 years. That makes sense to me. I can get that. Okay, I understand that. And why is the average time for a pastor 4 years? Why? Because the pastor mistakenly thinks that he or she could do everything. They think, I am chosen by God. I am called to be a pastor, so therefore I could be everything to everybody. Normally their families are a mess. Normally their kids are crazy, running around like, crazy people, right? Because they're trying to get the attention of their parents because their mom or dad isn't around. They're helping everybody else. And so after 4 years, they're done. They're just like, I can't do it anymore. I'm finished. I'm fried. I can't. A lot of times they think like, well, look at the church is growing so big. Look what I have done. I am the draw to get all of these people here. Guys, that's bull. The reason why people go to church is because of God, period. Okay, so we could think we're just like so great and talented and gifted, but it's God that's bringing those people to church. But then the opposite. If the church starts to decline, I'm terrible and I should never have done this in the first place. What's so sad is people have genuinely been called, but they left because it just got too hard. Stick it out. I always tell pastors, stick it out. Don't give up. But don't try to be everything to everybody. It's not going to work. Okay? We get burned out and we try to be everything to everybody and it doesn't work. The second one is I can let certain things go. Something to remember, guys. Only a few things truly matter. Not everything is as important as it's made out to be. Okay? It's something you really got to remember. Not everything is that important. Not everything is life or death. Some things are important, but not everything is. I love what John Maxwell says. He says this, quote, "You cannot overestimate the unimportance of practically everything." Right now, guys, we are in a culture that is overreacting to everything, right? I'm offended. Let's all, like in those Frankenstein movies, I'm offended. Let's get the pitchforks and torches and go charge the mountain and cancel somebody. You know, everybody's like offended by everything because everything is so important. Guys, not everything is that important. Maybe we need a little bit more of a sense of humor. Maybe we need to let things go a little bit more. Maybe we don't need wound up every second looking for somebody to fight. Like, not everything is all that important. And guys, here's another problem. We spend a lot of time, money, energy, and passion in the wrong things. Now, here, not necessarily it's the wrong thing, but it's really in the wrong direction, okay? I'm going to give you a great example. Right now, I'm admitted as a dad, I'm very concerned, genuinely, about my kids and about what they're trying to teach some of our kids in school. Very concerned about it. And I'm looking at it, and some of the books that are out there are wildly inappropriate. Kindergartners, second grade, unbelievable. And I could look and I could talk to other pastors and other churches, and they would all say the same thing. The most important thing in the church right now is to take care of our children. If I were to give a survey to every single church out there, and I would say, what's the most important thing? Everybody would raise their hand and say, take care of the children. I could give a survey right now. Who thinks that this is one of the most key things is to protect our kids? Right? All agree on that? Yes. Then why, church, is it almost impossible to get people in churches to serve in kids' ministry? They don't need more lectures. They need more leaders. They don't need more rhetoric. They need people to serve them. You want to affect the next generation? Serve them. Stop lecturing at them. That's just more noise. You know, we've got a great opportunity to serve these kids, but when those kids were up front here, they are dying for people to hang out with them, to pay attention to them. I see little kids, I was just walking up this morning, showing me their toys or showing me what they're learning or pointing to something that's interesting them. They want to know you. They want to be in your life. But you know what, guys? And this isn't just every church. It is so hard for churches to recruit for volunteers. Guys, today, I'm just telling you right now, today, if we got 4 people, you could do it once a month and just sit with these kids. You know, people always say, well, I'm not called to kids ministry. That's such like Melanie's called to do slides every week. I was called, the Holy Spirit appeared to me and said, you need to do slides for church. It's like, hey, you need it? Okay, I'll do it. Darren right there is doing tech, guys, right now. I can't even tell you the pain that Darren goes through from what he's dealing with right now. I'm telling you right now, guys, it's something that there is a need. I could do it. Guys, I would be super bummed if we don't you could do a live scan right now. 4 people this Sunday could just spend one Sunday a month just sitting there listening to these kids, letting them know that you care, that you love them. Guys, I'm going to tell you right now, and I can't emphasize this enough. The reason why these groups and these things at schools are succeeding is because the church is not listening. They're lecturing. And those kids are going to pay attention to whoever's hanging out with them. even if it's a group that claims to be a science club when it's really covering up for something far more evil. So if you want to make a difference, let's stop with our picket signs and pitchforks. Let's go serve them. Hang out with them. It's not hard, guys. I'm telling you right now, our school, the girls' school, they have what they call watchdogs. And it's where the dads can go and they can hang out at the school with the kids. And so I always volunteer as a watchdog. Guys, I'm not called to work with kids, okay? That's not a calling for me, okay? But it's something that they need. Guys, the kids just hung out with me, asked me a million questions. I was interviewed in the classroom. What do you do? I'm a pastor. What does a pastor do? I help people. I talk to people. That's really cool. How come you were a pastor? How come you wanted to do it? I thought church was a little boring, so I decided maybe I'll make it a little different. Oh, I want to do that. Teacher's like, okay, let's go. Okay, so I'm not called to working with kids, but I just hung out with them, and they loved me just hanging out with them. And guys, it was a rainy day, and they had to do PE inside, and that room got ripe. By the time they had to close all the doors because, we didn't want to make noise. By the time they opened the door, I'm like, help me. Just sign up once a month. Get your live scan and just hang out with them once a month, just so they know you care about them, okay? Now, the next one, which leads us to the last one, is number 3 is I have choices about the way that I live. Guys, you have a choice. We have to stop making excuses. You have a choice to show up to church. Well, I'm tired. I've a long night. So you're making a choice not to go. You have a choice not to read your Bible. You have a choice not to tithe. You have a choice not to serve. Those are your choices. But you have to take responsibility, and let's stop making excuses, guys. You have an unbelievable opportunity. We have a new building coming up. You have a choice to plant a new church. It's so cool. Remember this, guys. You are ridiculously in charge of your own story. You just are. Stop making excuses. Especially with people I talk to, it's like, well, I would be better off, but if it wasn't for this group or this group or this group or this group or this group, it's like, just shut up and do something. Stop complaining. You are in charge of your own story. Stop blaming everybody because life didn't go the way you thought it was supposed to go. Choosing to believe you don't have a choice is a choice in itself. It's just a bad one. Okay? That's a choice. It's just a terrible one because you're choosing to be a victim and everything's unfair and life's unfair and everybody's mean and I should have more things. No, you're responsible for you. Okay? Now, some of us might say, well, I'm in a bad job or I'm in a past relationship or maybe you're tired of being single or whatever. Guys, you remember it this way. You may not always have control over your opinion, over your options, but you can control how you choose among them. So you want to remember that, guys. Maybe you have been hurt in the past. But what I've seen is when people get hurt in the past, they're like, I'm never going to let anybody else in. That's so sad to me. You are literally punting on some awesome friendships, on some awesome relationships. And you're not letting people in just because you've been hurt. I'm not discounting your hurt. I'm sure we've all been hurt. But choosing to say, I'm never going to let anybody get close to me, so I've got this wall here of protection, and nobody's going to enter this area because it's going to have potential to get hurt. Sure, you have a potential to get hurt. But you know what? At some point, you're going to have to let people in. Give yourself a chance to have, because honestly, guys, what makes life worth living is relationships. It just does. It's all about that. So, as I've said before, guys, we only get one crack at this. You only get one life. Psalms 90:10 says this, our days may come to 70 years or 80 if our strength endures, yet the best of them are but trouble and sorrow, for they quickly pass and then we fly away. Teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom. Now, for some of you, maybe your life isn't what you wanted it to be. And honestly, guys, that's why Melanie and I, we wanted to start this church. Because Melanie and I didn't like the churches we were going to. We were seeing stuff that we didn't like. We didn't like them. And so we said, you know what? I don't want to complain about church. Let's start a new one. And let's just do it. And let's not talk about it. Let's just go for it. And God brought us to South Hills. It kind of matched the most of what we were looking for, the DNA. Again, Sunday after Sunday, guys, we are here. There have been times where actually Melanie and I have set the church up by ourselves. And we're every Sunday, over and over and over. Sometimes there's a lot of people, sometimes there's hardly anybody there. Every week we do it. We knew that this is going to be a commitment, and we just keep going for it. And we just keep pushing through. So what Nehemiah is doing here, Nehemiah 2:6. Then the king with the queen sitting beside him asked me, how long will your journey take, and will you get back? And when will you get back? It pleased the king to send me, so I set a time. Guys, the king asks two extremely important questions that you got to understand. The first one that he's going to ask him is, how long is it going to take? The reason why this is so important is because dreamers are great. We need dreamers. We need you, dreamers. But the problem is that you just dream the rest of your life and you don't do anything. You just have a life of, I'm going to do all these amazing things, but you don't do anything, right? How long is it going to take? Set up a time. What's that going to look like? Right? And the next one is what's your plan? Guys, you need a plan. If you don't have a plan, the first time it gets hard, you're going to say, I can't do it. I quit. I have a plan. Get a Costco card. I didn't like it, so I quit. I have a plan. Get a membership to the gym. I didn't like it, so I quit. You have to have a plan. Nehemiah gives us a blueprint, how to find your purpose, how to push through the doubts and fears, and how to not let anything stop you from what God's putting on your heart. Now, I'm just speaking for me and this church. What's the goal of South Hills San Clemente? What's your goal? Do you have one? Yes. The goal for this church is in one calendar year, we will average in attendance 200 people every Sunday. Well, why 200? Is that what God said? No. Honestly, I didn't get anything from God to say 200. Why 200? Because every research that I've seen from my whole life has said once you get to that mark, it is the hardest mark to get to in church growth. It is the hardest one. It is like the Mount Everest. Once you get to there, things make a little bit more sense, but it's very, very difficult. So why not? Okay, well then do you have a plan? Yes. We're going to use the building as a tool. To do what? To have large events. People like events. They do. They just draw people. Bounce houses, face painting, in-and-out trucks, all these things, right? People like it. That's going to draw more folks to your location. Then you have to have ministries to keep them busy, give them a job, and understand that everybody that's going is going there because God wants them there. Give them a job. Make sure you have something to do. We're going to make our kids' ministry so appealing that it's going to be great for families. Guys, we're sharing this with this school. Every day, parents are seeing every day, literally, parents are coming to our church. Think about that for a second. Parents are coming to our church every day. So give them a great kids experience. Give them a great, something to do. That's going to take a lot more, obviously, volunteers. And then serving our community. Guys, we are going to serve our community. We are not going to shout at our community about what we're against. We're going to serve them and show them what we are for. We're for being there in a positive way for the community. And like Nehemiah, guys, we're going to trust God. We're going to push through the doubts and challenges. Everyone in our church is going to take ownership of this. We're going to continue to be a welcoming place so that people know who Jesus is. And we're going to be ready to care for a lot of people. Why are we going to do this? Guys, I can only speak for me. This is my midlife crisis. Okay? I don't want to waste my life. I only get one. And every year I lose a year of it. Okay? I want to make my life count. I want it to mean something. I want to be part of building something that is going to be there for outlast me. My goal is to introduce as many people to the love of Jesus as I possibly can before I go to heaven. That's what I want. This church gives us an amazing opportunity. I'm not going to sit on this opportunity. You know how rare it is for our church our size to go to a building like that? I'm not wasting that. We're going to go all in on this. So I'm going to leave you with one question here. If you could only do one thing with your life right now, what would you do? And is that thing that's in your mind getting the attention that it deserves? If not, you need to change it today. Guys, for our church, it has not always been easy. Right? Remember these days? The very first day of our church. And it turned out to be great in the beginning. And we had some really fun events. And it was really cool. And everybody was on it. We had baptisms at the beach. Remember those days? They were great. People getting baptized, life change. I was like, yes, God is doing something so big and powerful here. This is amazing. This is going to be great. And then COVID happens, and we're forced outside. And we had to have church outside from then on. And we had to wear masks, and everybody thought the world was ending, and we had to keep going. But guys, we were able to come back in here, and it's never been easy, ever. It's just, we just keep going and going and going. But now we are heading to a brand new home. And we're all in it. And this is where we're going. That is the tool that's going to get us to where we want to go. Where is that? A brand new church. A brand new church. Not moving, a brand new one. That's the church you're planting. You're members, founding members of South Hills San Clemente. And it's going to take you to take ownership of that. This is our church. And church, we're painting it on Saturday. This is our time. Don't waste it. I don't know very many people that get an opportunity to plant a church in a community like Talega and have a building like that. That's incredible. I'm not wasting it, and I know that you're not either. So friends, join me in this. If you could do one Sunday a month, we are not prepared right now to welcome the kids that will be there opening day. We are not. It is unfair to expect Angela to do this by herself. If you could just do one Sunday a month, please let us know. I'm going to be looking at the cards that are coming in this Sunday, and I'm hoping I see some people go, I'll just do it once a month. And also, guys, painting this Saturday, please let us know that you could do it. I'm going to ask you a question, and I just want the honest answer. Are you guys ready for this? Yes. Are you? All right, great. Great. Then let's do it. Let's do it. Father, I just thank you so much for your church, for what you are doing. Father, the time for talking is over. You have clearly blessed us with this incredible facility, God. We're not going to waste it. We're going to show you, Father, that you know what you're doing by giving us this facility, God. We are going to use this tool to reach as many people as we can, and we're going to make this work for you, God. This is your church. This is it. And you are here, and you're saying, this is it. This is your time. What are you going to do with the opportunity I gave you? Father, I speaking for all of us, we will not waste it. We're going to go forward confident, and we're going to go forward knowing that what we're doing is going to affect the next generation. There are kids in this area that are going to eventually bring their families to this church because of the fact that they grew up in a loving family. We're coming. It's in your name.
South Hills Church, I just want to take a moment and say thank you for watching our service online. Whether you're watching it for the first time or you're watching it again because you enjoyed the service so much from the weekend, I'd like to take a moment and dive into our giving. Every week we give people the opportunity to give back and give to the local church so that God can continue to bless your lives and bless your finances. Here at South Hills, we believe that everything comes from God. We believe that He's the one that chose us and brought us into this world, gave us our gifts and talents and abilities. And I just want you to know that when we give, we are giving back what God has already given to us. If you've ever seen any of our envelopes at a South Hills campus, you'll see on there that it says, every week at South Hills, your generosity is giving people the opportunity to live a better story. And there's a scripture on there in Matthew chapter 6, verse 21 that says, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So I want to encourage you today to click down below and set up your giving, whether it's for the first time or whether you're doing reoccurring giving. We have 4 ways to give here at South Hills. 1, you can do it in person at any of our campuses through an envelope. Or 2, you can actually text any amount that you would like to 84321. And the 3rd way is to download our Church Center app. I encourage you to do this one because the Church Center app gives you opportunity to stay connected with our church and your campuses. It's a great tool and resource for you to know what's going on. And the 4th way to give is to give online. You can go to southhills.org/give and you can set up your giving there. Whether you're a guest of our church or whether you are a member of our church, or whether you simply just like to watch our services, I encourage you to trust God with your finances so that He can bless bless and anoint your finances, and you can be trusting God in this journey of living life to the fullest. I love you, and thank you for watching our online service today.